All right, in this week's video, I'm going to show you the last few things I did to upgrade this saw to be pretty much exactly what I was hoping this project would come out to be. So the big thing, obviously, I talked about in my last video was going to be rewiring everything. So longer extension cord, everything's completely rewired underneath. I also replaced the inner bearing on each one of these just because it was starting to wear out. You could have a ton of wiggle with it, and now you can see it's no wiggle at all, rock solid. I also purchased two stands like this. This was something that I was going to build, but for 30 bucks online, I figured my time is worth more than that, and these are going to work just fine, and they actually fit in my cart really nicely, so I was pretty pleased with that. And then the last thing I added was this little hook to hold my extension cord, and we have the brand new belt and a brand new blade on here, so this thing is ready to rock and roll. So I'll take you through how I finish up these last few things in this video, so let's get to it. One of the main things that I did not like about this current setup is that the motor is not grounded. It's just been cut off, and from the research I've done, and with most of these motors, let me get my light down here so you can see. This screw right by my finger here is the grounding screw. So I'm going to put a 3-prong plug on this and ground it to the motor like it's supposed to be. But aside from that, I have to make a few other wires and different connections as well. If we crawl underneath here, you can see that the plug itself goes to the back side of that box, and then it gets spliced into this plug here. So what I'm going to have to do is create a new splice that goes to this junction box from the plug, and then from the junction box up to the motor. Alright, so I'll try not to bore you too much with this electrical stuff, but just in case someone is curious how I'm going about doing this, is that I just bought I believe this is 14 gauge extension cord, and I'm cutting it into the lengths that I need to in order to rewire this bandsaw. So you can see what I'm doing with every one of these is I'm cutting back the main insulator, and then allowing me to separate the 3 wires, so my hot, neutral, and ground. And then I'm snipping back probably about 3/8 to half an inch of exposed wire, twisting that wire, and then I'm adding connections to it. So for this one, for my ground, I'm putting a ring terminal on it so it fits where that screw I previously showed you goes pretty easily. And the trick here, it might be a little hard to see, is that when you put these in, you don't just want to push them on, and that's kind of what you'll see happens here. You see when I just try to push it, that little copper lead pushes back. So what we want to do is rotate these. So right now I'm rotating it, starting with my thumb down, going to the top, and I'm going to put this on the same way. So as I get started, I'm going to rotate it on. And that's going to keep all those copper windings nice and tight and where they need to be. So after that, I'm going to hold it with one hand, applying pressure inwards to make sure it stays nice and tight, and then use this crimping tool to secure that fastener. So you can see we have a blue dot here that lets me know that for these blue connections, that's where I need to put it. Squeeze it once, and we have a nice solid connection then. Now I've got 3 of my connections done that go to the motor, but you can see that we have this very loose fitting jacket around the outside. So these are a crimp/shrink wrap as well. So I ordered these specifically. I'm not sure the name brand. It looks like it's Wi-Fi, just off of Amazon. Get a big box of connectors, and then all I have to do is take my heat gun, turn this on, and start to heat each one of these up. So you notice as I start heating it, that shrink wrap actually starts closing up around the wire. So the whole idea is that we want to create that good connection, but since it's being held on by those individual copper strands, we need to shrink wrap it to the wire to make sure that those do not get ripped out if someone accidentally yanks on this cord. So you can see, holding it nice and tight there, and as it cools, it's going to maintain that. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish up these other 3 connections real quick. So once those cool now, they become hard again. And now I have a very strong, very secure connection where I have good conductivity between my copper and the part of this that I crimped. And now I have this shrink wrap jacket here holding onto the wire tightly, making sure that I don't accidentally rip out where it's connected there. So I got this end done, and I'm just going to continue doing this for the remainder of the connections I need to. I won't show you all of those just because it's going to be pretty repetitive, but depending on the connection you have, you can see we have the female blade connectors here, and I have a ring terminal here. These are going to be the main connections that I use for putting this together. Alright, so here's the finished product. So as you can see, one thing that was kind of a happy accident for me was that I initially was going to build a set of these stands to help hold material while I was welding stuff, but after looking online I found the pair of these for like 30 bucks, so a little hard to turn down at that price, so I figured I'd just get a cheap pair right now to get me through. And if you guys want to see a custom built set of these, let me know. I can always do that for you. But nice thing about this is that I got my longer pieces of scrap steel that can go in here. And now I have my stands, which fit on the cart perfectly. And then over here, we welded on just a little hook to hold the extension cord. And my new belt finally came in. So that belt made a bigger difference than I thought. It took a lot of the shake out of this motor. And you can see now that when I actually turn it on, that motor is virtually motionless, which was pretty far from what it was previously. So big difference there. Overall, that's the end of this cart build. I mean, if there's anything else you guys can think of I should add to this, let me know. But as far as being a good functional cart, I believe it's got everything I need. You know, storage space, hold my stands for holding material, longer extension cord, and the wiring has been completely gone through and redone. So if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know. Again, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.